order at 6 p.m. of the Glendora City Council. I am David Friedendahl. I am the your phones and any other electronic devices. And if you're in the audience and wish to speak during public comment, kindly complete a speaker card that's available at the front door and turn it into the recording admin before the end of public comment. Again, this is a public meeting for the community of Glendora, and we appreciate and respect your participation here this evening. For the record, all members of the council are present and prepared to conduct our business. And as such, I would now like to open public comment and then also ask our city attorney to read us into closed session. Sir, welcome.
Yes, Mayor, the council will be meeting in closed session on one item concerning real property negotiations, which is authorized pursuant to Government Code Section 54956.8, which will be held with the city's negotiators, the city manager, Adam Raymond, the city attorney, Danny Ailshire, Assistant City Manager, Moises Lopez, Community Development Director, Jeff Kugel, and Economic Development and Housing Manager, Tiffany Chu, regarding the real property located at 1762 Dale Road. And that concludes the introduction.
Thank you, Mr. Ailshire. At this time, I'll invite any speakers present to make public comment on this one item as noted only, and you will have 3 minutes to share your communication. Is there anyone wishing to speak during public comment? Seeing none, I'll ask, have we received any correspondence related to this item?
We have not, Mayor.
We have not. Okay, then. I shall close public comment and recess us to closed session. Thank you very much. And everyone, and welcome back. We've been in closed session for a few minutes. So at this point, I would like to ask our city attorney, Mr. Aylshire, to read us out of closed session.
Yes, Mayor, the council met in closed session on a real property negotiation item, which is authorized pursuant to Government Code Section 54956.8 regarding negotiations with Mercy Housing at the property located at 1762 Dale Road. The city manager, the city attorney, assistant city manager, the community development director, and economic development and housing manager gave a status report to the council, and the council unanimously authorized the continuation of negotiations under the exclusive right to negotiate agreement with the developer.
Thank you, Mr. Aylshire. And we did adjourn our closed session at 6:30 and reconvene our open session at 7 o'clock this evening. So welcome. I am David Friedendahl. I am the mayor of Glendora, and I will preside over the city council meeting. And in consideration of the business to be conducted this evening, I ask that everyone please silence any phones or electronic devices so as to not disrupt the business. Please refrain from speaking unless recognized. And if you are in the audience and wish to speak during the public comment period, we invite you to do so. Kindly ask that you fill out a yellow public comment card. The city clerk has one, and there's some at the front counter by the entrance door as well. Kindly complete the card and turn it in to the recording admin before the end of public comment period. So I will open public comment. And actually, I will not open public comment. I will actually ask for our invocation and pledge of allegiance to open our meeting. And this evening, we're privileged to have Pastor Bruce French from the Cornerstone Bible Church. And it's a pleasure to have you back. Happy New Year and welcome. If everybody could please stand.
Thank you for having me. Thank you for allowing me to bless this evening. Would you please join me in prayer? Father, I want to begin by thanking you for the men and women who have served and are serving in the armed forces in order to protect our land and our freedoms. And I pray especially for the conflict that's happening in the Middle East. I pray for your grace and your mercy, for your care, that you would protect lives. And I pray that your sovereignty would resolve this. Related to these men and women, I pray that you'd richly bless them for their sacrifices. Please meet each of their needs emotionally, physically, and spiritually. May they be affirmed and their value noted. Along with that, will you help us to be mindful of their contributions and express our gratitude all year long. Additionally, I want to intercede on behalf of the men and women who serve in our police and fire departments. We thank you for these individuals who risk their lives in order to keep our streets safe and our lives secure. Please protect and guard them from every form of harm and grant them wisdom in their daily task so that their service will be effective and honoring to you, Lord. Thank you as well for the educators that you have equipped in order that our children may learn and grow. I ask you to protect our students, the administrators, faculty, and staff from injury and harm. Free them from distractions that would hinder their learning and understanding. May our campuses be environments that are safe, free from worry and fear. And I pray especially for their parents, that you give them wisdom and discernment and understanding. Last, for tonight, will you give our city council discernment and understanding so they may lead our city in equitable ways, help them to listen humbly to the needs of the citizens, and give them courage in the decisions they must make. As you assist them in their divine assignment, will you add blessing to their labor by allowing them to see fruit from their efforts. Please enable our town and its citizens to be characterized by love and goodness. It's in your Son's precious name that I pray. Amen.
Thank you, Pastor French. We'll now ask GHS Senior Noah Lopez to come forward and lead us in our Pledge of Allegiance. Welcome, Noah.
Okay. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
Thank you, Pastor French and Noah. Appreciate it very much. With that, brings us to reordering or any additions to the agenda. Does anyone wish to reorder or add anything? Hearing none, we shall not do any of that. Very good. Brings us to public comment. I will open public comment period and invite members of the public to address this legislative body. Speakers will be limited to 3 minutes, speaking once only on both on or off agenda items. If you are in attendance, kindly fill out one of the yellow public comment cards and submit it to our public recording admin before the end of the public comment period. I have a couple of cards now. If there's anyone still wishing to add one, you may do so. With that, I will ask Ms. Erica Landman to welcome.
Good evening. Thank you for letting me speak this evening. I'm here to advocate for the South Hills Wilderness Park. The first point is in regards to your upcoming discussion on possible development of the South Hills and also the creation of the bike park. On my Erica Landman Word on the Street 2 days ago, I conducted a very unscientific poll asking, should the Glendora City Council allow the South Hills Wilderness Park to be developed? Here are the results. 5 people said yes, develop the South Hills. Over 140 people within the last 10 minutes or so I checked responded, hell no, do not develop the South Hills. Okay, while I went and I had been campaigning, multiple times campaigning for Glendora City Council, I confirmed the #1 issue for the area of District 3 from Arrow Highway to Route 66 is protecting the South Hills Wilderness Park. As per the survey that was conducted that's going to be discussed, it said that there were 54% of the people of Glendora who were surveyed were in favor of developing the South Hills Wilderness Park. I'm uncertain where the people were or whatever, but I know for sure when I campaigned the city, when it was citywide, not just district, the #1 issue from Arrow Highway to Route 66 is protect the South Hills Wilderness Park. And other people, they want to protect the hiking trails as well. So please keep this in mind during your item #7 discussion of the strategic plan update regarding possible development of the South Hills. Also, quite honestly, the bike park will make a huge, impact for the younger people and all people of all ages in the South Hills Wilderness Park. Those are going to be great developments and make Glendora a destination point, which is something that I know that you're interested in doing. And also, really quick, the second point I really need to bring up is that by categorizing the South Hills as a very high fire zone and now changing formerly low fire zone areas, you've really jeopardized at least 1,000 people's homes. Those people were never in a high fire zone before, and now we are. And so I realize that the Hills zone was changed in order to allow the city to remove some homeless camping up there, but I still see tents up there. And also, for the record, I disagree with you guys for skipping over Michael for mayor. Thank you.
Thank you, Erica. Next up, I'm pleased to introduce our new Southern California Edison District Rep, Ms. Daphne Segala Morphin. Welcome, Daphne.
Thank you, Mayor, and hello, Council. It's good to see many familiar faces again. As the Mayor mentioned, my name is Daphne Segala Morphin, and I am the new Government Relations Manager for Southern California Edison. I do really look forward to working with you all, although very new to Edison, not new to government affairs. I have experience from the federal, state, and local government affairs and have been doing this for a very long time, but very excited to take this and work with you all at a local level. I encourage you all to please reach out. I have shared my contact information, and if you don't have it, please do. If there are any topics that you wish to hear from Edison about, or how we can better collaborate or share education on the different initiatives that we're doing, I definitely welcome that. And I just wanted to introduce myself, put a face to the name whenever you are reaching out, and thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Daphne, and welcome to Glendora.
Thank you.
All right. Is there anyone else wishing to speak in public comment who has not submitted a card yet? No? Okay, seeing none, I will announce that there has been correspondence received prior to the beginning of the meeting, and it was incorporated into the agenda packet and distributed to the members on the panel, and we will make it available to the public as part of the minutes of the meeting. So with that, no other public comment. I shall close public comment. And bring it back to members for statements. Michael, would you like to begin?
Thank you, Mayor. First off, I want to congratulate Pastor Bruce on his retirement announcement 2 weeks ago. I just found this out, so congratulations. You're going to be missed. You're going to go, to Texas, I believe. Be with your grandkids. I love it. At the last COG subcommittee, the Energy, Environment, and Natural Resources, we had a presentation on the heat action plan by the county about the extreme heat that a lot of folks are witnessing. Apparently, there's 200 annual deaths that occur. So if anyone is interested, they can simply go to climateresolve.org, and there's a whole plan there of cooling centers and things of that nature that we can all partake in and let other folks know that may not have air conditioning in their homes. We also, at the executive committee at the COG, we were given some information on the Essential Services Resolution Act by the county, a 5% increase in sales tax. We had, there were, I believe, 10 predetermined allocations for the funds, which brought up the question, is it really a general tax, or is it already been determined what it's going to be used for? That was public discussion. The COG will not take an action on it. It's only going to be for information purposes only. And I believe the city has already sent a letter in opposition to this, about a week or two ago. And there's also another bill in the legislature. It's AB 1768. Assemblymember Isaiah Bryan, and it's to exceed the 2% tax limit. And so I don't know, are we going to send a letter for that? We are. Good. And that's all I have for my report. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Michael. Shauna?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just wanted to extend a quick thank you to our friends at Washington Elementary School in our Charter Oak School District for having a couple of us down there last week to read for Read Across America. I had a lot of fun. I got to read to a class of fifth graders who were a lot of fun and were surprised to know that I'm not in the WNBA. For some reason, I thought that was really funny. I got a lot of questions. How tall are you? Are you in the WNBA? So that was a lot of fun. And then two questions that I've received that I figured I would ask publicly from a resident here. Hopefully he's watching. Is there a reason why the crosswalk right here across from La Fetra isn't like a lit crosswalk? That's the first one. And then they were questioning the lights in the parking lot on the south side of Finkbeiner. I guess they were recently fixed, and they've been out for a couple of weeks. So I don't know. And one more thing. Those are the first two. And then, Adam, if you don't mind giving Erica some clarification on the fire hazard severity zones, because that is not something that City Council does.
Sure.
Thank you.
Happy to do so. So really quick with the crosswalk out here. So one of the ordinances the City Council passed was a Safer Streets ordinance, which allowed the city to do slowing of traffic and put crosswalks in areas they would not otherwise be be qualified for. This is one of those locations, so it's actually a temporary project. So the city has looked for grant funding. Later on this evening, you'll see a bunch of funding about future street light or traffic signal improvements, and so similar pots of funding are also for some crosswalks. So we would look at electrification and lights of this crosswalk after it's fully evaluated, after its temporary period. As for the lights in Fink Minor, I don't know off the top of my head, but we're happy to look into that. I'm sure staff is aware and can provide some timeline, and if not, then here's their notification, and we'll make sure that we get on that matter. Really quick, the city, the state fire marshal in the state of California is the one that draws the maps for very high fire hazard severity zones. When the new maps were released, we actually did a presentation to this body. So the city council has no say in the very high fire hazard severity maps. City council cannot oppose them. What the city council can do is increase the area and high fire hazard severity maps. Sorry about that, it's a tongue twister. So there are, as Ms. Lambin indicated, some development requirements in those areas and some additional building responsibilities, but again, the city does not have any say in that process. We are required to adopt those maps, and when they first made aware, if you look on the city's website, we include the PowerPoint presentation and all the information that's come out. I know several other council members have had conversations with members of the public on this exact process as well. As was indicated, many years ago, I think back in 2019, the city actually adopted an ordinance, which is part of its anti-camping ordinance, which mentions fire hazard severity zones. As this council is well aware, and those watching at home, we have had fires in our foothills where there are some of those zones. So the intent was to not allow any camping in those areas for obvious risk mitigation. So it does happen to apply now to South Hills, but as a park, we don't allow camping anyway. So again, the city doesn't have any say in that matter, but we can understand the frustration on that front.
And if I might jump in on that, in addition to the state-determined maps, sadly, the insurance companies draw their own maps and can do their own choices and do not have to follow the state map.
Yeah, there is a piece of legislation actually that the city is reviewing to support as part of our legislative platform. The legislator whose name escapes me at the moment actually proposed some legislation that would require the state to tell cities what metrics it used to determine those zones. And I think that's really important for cities to understand, so we can better explain to the businesses and residents, that own property here in town or are subject to those cleaning efforts. So with these zones come additional clearance around properties, and the city does have all that information on its website. So we are reviewing that legislation as we speak and looking to probably support that legislation that would provide some additional clarity into the state's process.
Okay, thank you, Shauna. Thank you, Adam. Mendel.
Mayor, thank you, and I want to echo the appreciation that you said about our SCE rep. For some of you who have watched me for 11 years now, you know that I am not fond of SCE. And I was in an event last week. Daphne was there, and welcome. I told you that I would be nice. So I expressed to her the three concerns that I have, and I won't go into them here. Many of those issues public has, and I am confident that she will look into those and advocate as much as she can, and that's all that I would ask. And so, Daphne, welcome. And I just want to be on the record that I welcomed an SCE rep, which my colleagues know is probably the first time that I've ever been so nice to an SCE rep. And Michael was at the meeting, and so was David, and Karen is trying to sweeten me up more.
You were on good behavior.
Yeah, yes, I was. Public Works, boy, those folks have had a tough month and a half. Rains and then winds. And I just want to give a shout out to all of them that they work so hard to respond when Mother Nature does its thing. And thank you for keeping us safe, picking things up, and just keeping everything as neat and kind as you can. So thank you. I wanted to also express thanks to Metro. Saturday night there was an event here, and I got there about 8:30. It was windy and cold, but the spirit and energy was very, very high. And I just wanted to say thank you for what they did and the event itself and the people that came. Everybody seemed to be having a great, great time. The goal line is doing what it's supposed to be doing. I think it's working well. I know we were called by a reporter the other day. The mayor gave an update on how everything is going, and but that night was a very, very nice night. So thank you. And with that, I'm done.
Thank you, Mendel. Karen?
Thank you for that segue. Yes, I think many of us were at that event, and great vendors who toughed it out despite the cold and wind, and lots of residents. Last week at the COG homelessness meeting, Metro Public Safety was there to give a presentation. They continue to try to increase their staffing. They're in the process of doing that. They currently have their home teams, which are their mental health outreach teams, and community intervention teams, but they are adding crisis response teams, and then also continuing to add to their own public safety force. What they encouraged people is if you see things, to use the Transit Watch app to report those. If it's things of a non-emergency nature, you can use that app to text that. If it's more concerning, you can call Metro, call the local police department, or if need be, you can use the emergency button on the train. But there are two apps. There's the Transit Watch and the Transit Track. Transit Watch is for you to do reporting and get information. Transit Track is very helpful because it tells you when the next train is coming, and a lot of commuters use that and find it very helpful. So we know that it is still a work in progress, that following COVID, trying to re-educate folks on using public transportation, and so just continue to take advantage of those means by which you can improve the ride for everyone. And then at the League of Cities meeting last week, which was hosted by Edison at their amazing facility in Monterey Park, they shared information with us that they are in the process of working with victims of the Eaton fire and making allocations for funds to them, but also shared that over the 140 years of Edison, all that they have accomplished, that in the next 25 years, they need to increase that 100%. So think about that infrastructure and that work that needs to be done. Everything that's taken them 140 years to do, they have to do again in just about 25 years. So a lot will be happening with that. And also at that meeting, there was a presentation by LA 28, which Councilmember Aaliyah sits on that committee. So I'm sure she'll be giving us more information. But just to remind you, if you want to try to get tickets to the 2028 Olympics, now is a great time to put your name in that lottery. You choose a couple of sports and see what you get. Just a little hint, probably choosing the less popular. You might have better luck. If you go for swimming and track and field, it's probably going to be a little more competitive. But one of their goals is to try to have tickets for some events that will only be $28. And so even the most expensive tickets are going to be less than you sitting in the nosebleed at a Lakers game, or maybe, I don't know, maybe a Kings game, I don't know. But so just keep your eye out for that, and just remember that as that time gets closer, we will have venues on 3 sides of Glendora, and that will impact us. So I know Councilmember Elias will share more of those details as it gets closer, but just a heads up now, if you don't know how to use public transportation, you have from now to 2028 to learn to do that because you're going to want to do that. So just saying. And coming up this week in Glendora, Empty Bowls on Friday, another opportunity for you to give back to the community by purchasing a ceramic bowl, getting delicious soup from a restaurant, and making a difference. Sunday, we had 175 walkers who raised over $13,000 for hunger relief through the crop walk. And on Friday night, or on Thursday night, there was the trivia challenge. Team Spencer won, and second place was Glendora Unified. So they did an amazing job answering all those challenging questions. So shout out to all of them. That's it.
Thank you, Karen. I too got to go read at Washington School, and it was a great time. I had a combination class, 4th and 5th grade, and they were a lot of fun. And hopefully I was as much fun for them as they were for me. A great time, and it's fun to see kids get motivated, so that was great. I also would like to commend our Public Works group for storm addressing this past weekend during the storm. They didn't wait till Monday morning when it was all over with to come to work. They were working Friday night and Saturday night and picking up Sunday. So all weekend long addressing the immediate needs and trying to mitigate the big things that could hold off till the week. But a great department effort and great results. We appreciate that very much. I'd like to address the continuing thread that we're here tonight to talk about South Hills Park and the Wilderness Park that is not on the agenda. And I'd like to clarify something, because while the news is good and the information of awareness is valuable, please understand that the discussion of potentially developing areas in the South Hills Wilderness Park goes back to pre-Measure E by a citizens advisory group that was looking at things that the city might do to generate some revenue and some solutions moving forward. And one of the recommendations was to consider development in the South Hills area. Measure E came along, did some other things that has put us into a better position, but to my knowledge, that continued discussion, development, action plan has not been acted on, is not on the agenda, is not in the forefront of an action item moving forward by the city at this time, nor has it been initiated as discussion. Just a recommendation by that citizens advisory group several years ago. So it's not happening. It's not saying it could never happen, but it is not something happening or planned in the immediate near future. With that, I'll bring it back to our city manager and city attorneys for comments.
Just a couple points. So later tonight, as you indicated, Mayor, we will have a conversation about the status update of our strategic plan. To Ms. Lamon's comments, the City Council does have Goal 2, which is Glendora is a place that we want to attract visitors to. In there are several areas, including a zoning update as part of our comprehensive zoning efforts that we'll talk about this evening. The City Council also directed staff to do some polling for South Hills, which was already completed in a future council session workshop, which is not tonight. It's a future action item. In addition to that is also the agreement with Abbott Trails for a bike park. So for Ms. Lamon, on the city's community survey from 2025, in the key findings section of the report, we actually, or the consultant actually breaks down some specifics of the questions that you asked, and looking at it now, and I'll read directly from the report. The city of Glendora owns 350 acres of undeveloped property in South Hills. Some have proposed that the city sell approximately 50 acres of the property that is right next to the 210 freeway for a commercial and residential development. As part of the deal, the developer would be required to make improvements to South Hills, including creating a network of trails, new recreation amenities, and building a community center that would be available for the public use. Should be noted that this is a hypothetical situation only used for polling. After sharing this description of the proposal, the 2025 survey asked respondents whether, based on what they just heard, would they support or oppose a proposal. Majority of respondents at 57% indicated that they would support development proposals described, whereas 32% opposed the concept and 11% were unsure or preferred not to answer the question. Age appeared to be a driving factor in shaping opinions about the proposal, with support being highest among residents 25 and under at 77%, and steadily declining with age, reaching 46% approval among seniors. With respect to frequency of visitation, only those respondents who currently visit South Hills weekly, which is about 10% of the respondents of the survey, expressed less than a majority for support of the proposal. And then if you actually look on the survey, page 41 to I believe it's 49, provides exact details on some of the questions. The link to the 25 survey is available on our website. The margin of error for that survey is plus or minus 3.6%. And I would just add, Mayor, to your comments earlier, the 2019 final report from the Citizens Oversight Committee does mention, actually pulled a copy of the report. It does say there could be a potential significant source of resources, and it's large enough that some development could take place and yet retain an open space nature, but they did highlight that there are always concerns associated with any development in the hill. So even at that time, and going back to my understanding from the 1990s when Lewis was interested in a proposal, this has always been the conversation. So as part of the current strategic plan, we'll have an update this evening, but by no means is there a discussion for proposal.
Thank you, Mr. Raymond. Mr. Aylshire, welcome.
Nothing tonight for me, Mayor, thanks.
Okay, thank you very much. That brings us to our consent calendar, items 3 through 6. These items on the consent calendar will be enacted by one motion without individual discussion unless a council member requests one to be removed for separate discussion. Does anyone wish to move?
I'll move items 3 through 6 on the consent.
Okay, motion by Mr. Alawas. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Thompson.
Mr. Mayor, can I just say one thing?
Kindly, please.
I am sure that I'm not the only one up here, but I often look at item 4, which are the warrants. Those are the bills that we pay. And I asked about 4 different bills, and I want to applaud staff for promptly getting back and informing me and enlightening me on why certain things were in fact paid and what we're doing with those. So I just want everybody to know that these things are looked at, responded to, and thank you.
On that note, if I might, I asked questions as well, and a couple of them were what looked like duplicate payments on the same invoice. In reality, they were divided payments by account. There's 60 funds and a gazillion different accounts to apply expenditures appropriately to the responsible departments. So I suspected that might be the case, and upon inquiry was confirmed that is in fact the case. So thank you, Mendel. And any other questions or comments on 3 through 6? Okay, I will ask us to kindly vote. Items 3 through 6 pass unanimously, 5-0. Thank you very much. Brings us to item 7, a strategic plan update for February of 2026, and invite City Manager Adam Raymond to report.
Perfect.
Welcome.
Good evening, everyone. We do these periodically, as close to quarterly, sometimes 5 times a year as possible. With our strategic plans, special shout out tonight to Rose, our executive assistant, who helped put together the presentation and work with the executives on most of the updates. So, as the council knows, there was unanimous approval of this 2025-2027 strategic plan. Covers the periods of July 1st, 2025 through June 30th, 2027. The comprehensive report is broken down by goal and then further by outcome, action, and indicator to give the public and those readings some idea of how the city makes progress and in what fashion it will do that. So suburban living is one of our goals, and our updates as of February 2026, we've advanced some of our long planning strategies, including an RFP presentation to the Planning Commission on our upcoming main zoning document. We've moved housing and transit-oriented projects through the entitlement and design phase. We're thankful to the COG for their efforts on some of the first, last mile and people movement projects and their efforts there. We are continuing to implement targeted business support programs and look forward to coming back to the council with an update on those programs as part of the Economic Development Action Plan. We continue to partner with other agencies to improve our homeless services delivery. Most recently with the COG, seeing how we can pool some Measure A funding and try to get out of some of the complicated reporting requirements that seem to cost more than the actual amount of money that we get. Really thankful to our service providers, La Casa and in the county as part of the mental health program, and thank our police department and Recreation and Human Services for continuing to find additional partners to help us provide those services. And currently, we are working on our annexation analysis of some of the county pockets along the western border and some pockets to the north. And this is a data-driven fiscal analysis that is currently underway, and look forward to sharing that with the council as in the upcoming months. Glendora, as a place that people want to come to, we are continuing to partner with the Chamber and BID to strengthen the local business coordination and business attraction efforts, whether it's office space or whether it's additional restaurants. Working with the council again on our $1 million Economic Development Action Plan. Those proceeds were done through the sale of some property, and council approved that funding a couple years ago. We are working to launch a clear citywide communication strategy as a result of a communications audit we have, beginning to start with some financial information and working into public safety, and then moving on to infrastructure. And so look forward to sharing that with both the council and the public as well. And we continue to invest in beautification, skate park resurface, new landscaping, gateway improvements, and that contract and additional funding was approved as part of the city's mid-year budget adoption. New and revitalized city facilities. The City Council adopted a hybrid civic center strategy, and staff pursuant to that strategy is actively pursuing grants for city facilities and appropriations. We've recently requested several federal community grant opportunities, including the library and some police department and some restrooms at Big Dalton Canyon, as well as working with Glendora Unified School District for some joint use facilities that we have with them on the middle school campuses that turn into parks after hours. On that specific note, as we mentioned previously, the city helped the school district get an award of $1.5 million and look forward to that celebration on Thursday of this week. We've continued to complete our space assessments, and a design strategy, for example, for the Public Works Yard is currently underway. We have been working on some of our comprehensive infrastructure documents like our ADA and Urban Forestry and Parks Master Plan. Those various studies are in varying states of completeness, with ADA and urban forestry most completed amongst those, and the park master plan looking to go out to bid here soon. We're also working with human resources to have a employee-led citywide volunteer program and beautification initiative, so employees can help give back to their community. Sustainable infrastructure. The City Council recently received a pavement management study. City Council gave staff a goal to target a PCI of 70 from our current 63 over the next 7 years. That requires us to come back to the council with ways to fund a $3 to $3.5 million a year funding gap, and we look forward to those continuing conversations. The San Dimas Wash, as part of our People Movement project, is currently moving towards construction, and we mentioned earlier we're about 90% complete on a design for some of our first last mile projects, and we're working with the COG to see some of those come to completion. We've updated a comprehensive speed survey. About 18 segments were updated with speeds to help improve sometimes a consistent speed, for example, across Bennett Avenue, and other cases where the speed was actually lower and improved safety in and around school sites. The Water Master Plan consultant has been awarded, and we have major infrastructure plans underway from Glendora Water Tank to Glendora Avenue to several large projects in other areas of the city as well. And finally, we have a fleet transition plan development. We continue to pursue grant funding, and as we've said before, it's one of those things where the state's requiring us to move towards electrification of our fleet, and some of the federal funding for those processes have been removed. So I see Edison in the crowd tonight, so we'll ask for some more money too. So we'll take multiple bites of that apple. So staff and technology, council continuously has made, especially as long as I've been here, the importance of staff, and more recently, because of Measure E and Z, we've had the ability to do some comprehensive technological upgrades. Most recently, we have multi-year agreements with all of our labor groups. We're nearing completion of a new employee handbook, onboarding, and we've also implemented some leadership training. We're really close to releasing our 311 Civic Access app, which allows residents a far easier way to communicate with the city, fix problems, send us pictures of issues, and receive a real-time response. We look forward to rolling that over the next couple weeks. We're also looking at some parking technology and license plate reader options to better enforce some of our parking and other challenges that we have. Kathleen is continuing to spearhead our document imaging. She continues to find files in storage bins and facilities all across the city. But really, we're about 20 years behind there, and she's done a remarkable job of bringing us up into the current times. It's been an undertaking, to say the least. And also, we're really fortunate. Our GIS, again, was really lacking, and staff has done an incredible job. And we look forward to sharing a lot of those upcoming layers and data initiatives with the public as well. We've also had updating on permit, utility billing, asset management, ERP systems. We're looking forward to dashboarding and all the fun stuff that comes along with a lot of the work that's been done. So, and look forward to sharing that with the council as well. Also, for the public, we're looking at ways to build out a more drill down friendly version of budget to actuals, where you can, if you have questions on expenditures, you can get down to the line item. So we're looking to roll out some of that stuff too. When we were back before you in November, we have 105 total indicators associated with our goals. We were at 22% completion in November. Currently, as of 3/1 or the end of February, we're at about 39%. More importantly, a lot of the initiatives that we haven't started, we've begun to start and look forward to making progress. And again, the goal is to come back quarterly. Sometimes we come back a little more frequently, a little less frequently, but it's always important to share kind of where we're at. And so most of the items, 105 items, will all come before the City Council or Planning Commission in one form or another. So really aggressive plan over these last 2 years, and look forward to continued updates included in your agenda packet this evening. I would be remiss. There is a new handout that we've done for the first time, which really shows the change in progress on a line item detail, so you can see not only where we were, but the updates and any changes to each of the 105 items. So special thank you to all the department heads, and again, Rose, for helping put that together, which I think helps answer a lot of clarity and questions on where we're at. And with that, happy to answer any questions, and thank you very much.
Thank you, Adam. And a reminder, this isn't a 2-minute project. It's a 2-year project with a lot of legwork. So thank you very much. I'll bring that back to discussion opportunities and start with Mendel.
Mr. Mayor, thank you. And Adam, and to the team, I want to express my thanks for the good job that you guys are doing. Is this on our city website?
Yeah, so the strategic plan itself is, and with this update, we'll have all the updates on the website as well.
Okay. I think that's really important to note. We are attempting to be much more open. Transparent is a buzzword that everybody likes to use, and I think it's a good word, and I think it's a good thing to be. And I would urge people, before they lash out and express a opinion that's a negative one, to take a look and see if what your issue is not one of our goals. And if it is, see kind of where it's at. If it's not, then go ahead and ask why. I think that that's a very important thing. We're going to be working on an issue next on some signaling, and I think that all of us have had our moments around town when the signal is not working as fast as we'd like it to be, And we're going to try to fix at least 8 or 9 or 10 of those. And that is a part of one of our goals. And so thank you to everyone that's doing that. And grant funding is something that has taken off since Adam and his team have been here. I believe we've talked about this, but it's probably worth saying again that since they've been here, we've gotten somewhere between 50 million and 60 million in funding from all kinds of different sources. That had really never been done to the point that I just said, and I want to say thank you. We continue to look at that, especially with the issue that has been talked about among a lot of us with Frog and the good work that Frog has been doing to figure out a way to resurrect and maintain some of the structures that we have here in town. A parcel tax is one way to do it. Whether that comes to be, I don't know. That's going to be up to really what the people say. But we are continuing to look for all kinds of different grants. And sometimes we win, sometimes we don't win. And the logic as to why we don't win is something that one has to pause and scratch their head for, because it often does not make a lot of sense. But rest assured that we are looking at everything that we can do. We will be bringing back a lot of very important stuff on March 24th regarding Frog and regarding maintenance that buildings need. And to that extent, I think we've all shared, and I know that the ad hoc group that was formed in 2018 took an approach that everything is out there. Nothing is a sacred cow. And I know that South Hills, to some, is a sacred cow. But to be fair, I think we are looking at everything. That's not a statement of pro or a con. That is a statement of fact. We're looking at everything. And so we will take a look at that. And I think that the people have, at least to some extent, have said 57% say, hey, it's worthy to take a look at. And it's worthy to maybe consider something going on up there. So I think that that's important. Mayor, I appreciate what you said tonight. Adam, I appreciate what you said. I don't know if you need to say more about that, but I think it needs to be said, and we'll take a look at everything as that group did back then, and some of those things we have acted on. Some of those things we're still thinking about, and fortunately, some of those things we said, that's just not going to be us. And I am thankful for really the amazing work that those 24 people did. You say this morning there was 24 or 30-some people that served.
The original 20 people.
20 people. So thank you. So with that, thank you for an excellent update. I want to render whatever support that I can to allow all of us, the council staff, to get these things done, because I know in another year we'll have another 100 or so goals and objectives to meet, and that's why the city is as good as it is. And so thank you for everything that you are doing. Thanks.
Thank you, Mendel. Michael?
Thank you, David. You're right, Adam, this is aggressive. There's a lot on here. I spent a great many hours going through and reading it, and there's an awful lot, and staff has a lot to work. My hat's off to that process. I've got just a few questions. Maybe you can clarify, and I didn't put the page number, my apologies, but February 26th was an update with Metro for the Turner Center for Housing.
Yeah.
I guess some members of staff and council and planning were
Yeah.
part of it. What was that all
Sure,
about?
happy to. And it's one of the things we had briefed the council on. I see Moises is back there. Is Jeff here tonight? No? Do you mind coming up and sharing some of the process? We'll put Moises on the hot seat. So appreciate the opportunity. This is one of the things that we had briefed the council on, and I think it's a great question.
Yeah, Jeff's going to owe me for this one. We received an inquiry from the Turner Center, which is a graduate student program at UC Berkeley, similar to the experience we had with the Cal Poly students several years ago, where they visioned kind of what the area around the metro station could look like. UC Berkeley students flew down. I think there were probably about 25 to 30 of them here. They spent an entire day here in Glendora walking around the area, meeting with a variety of folks, including Metro staff and a couple of our council members, to get feedback on what we saw that area to be in the not too distant future. They're going to go back and develop a plan. They're going to present their plan to a committee as part of that Turner Center evaluation. It's kind of like a group project that they're all working on. They're all students that represent various disciplines at Cal's graduate studies program. So we're interested in seeing what they can come up with. It ultimately has no bearing on our community. It has no land use authority. It's just a visioning project that they're taking a look at. Glendora is not the only city along the metro line that they're evaluating. They've looked at other locations as part of this semester's kind of class program.
Are they being kept advised of some of the development that's proposed?
I believe so, yes.
Real time.
Our planning staff kind of gave them an overview of the types of projects that we're seeing, what's currently in the queue, and then kind of shared with them what our horizon plans are relative to the general plan.
Okay, great. Thank you for that, Moises. Just a quick thing for the numbers. On the sale of the San Jose property, we received, $3.99 million, and $1 million went to the economic development. Where did the rest of the breakdown go of the proceeds?
So if you recall in our last city council meeting, we talked about one-time funds, and so that is one of the one-time source of funds. So we should be back before council 2 weeks from tonight and having that discussion on how the council would like to use those funds if you so choose to do so.
Okay. Yeah, it was just the numbers, though, I was looking at, of the 3.99, and I know the 1 million, so you left with 2.99.
And that's what's on the one-time.
That's the
yeah.
balance.
Yep.
Because I know we were going to get from a sale of some property, a little over $2 million on top of that.
That's correct. And that would be for the Dale site, and then we've also anticipated some potential other developments of other local agency-owned property, not the cities, but other local agencies in out years, but that determines based on the market and how
Sure.
things move forward. But yep, that is absolutely accurate.
So also on the timeline for the economic action plan, we're going to get a report the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
Are we going to get anything prior to that, a little bit of a sneak peek of what's?
So you've already approved the Economic Development Action Plan.
Correct.
And so really it's the individual programs within the plan. We had a conversation on the restaurant incentive program, staff's coming back after city council feedback and providing some additional resources and retweaking some of the program requirements. As those individual programs come to fruition, those will each be back before the city council for program approval, and that was the city council direction. So staff is happy to provide an update on the plan in general or other planning updates, but that's just sort of the general timeframe.
Yeah, I'm kind of excited to see the progress that they've been making.
Yeah,
'Cause I know the
absolutely.
girls are everywhere and talking to everybody and trying to make things happen. Last question, it's 5.4 of the update.
Yeah.
Using technology, it says that there's a kiosk, computer permitting office that basically was abandoned because they didn't want to go forward with it due to cost. What was that?
Let me look at the 5.4 here really quick. Make sure we're taking a look at everything. Oh, so one of the things that we had looked at was, so more and more, appreciate the question, great question. So from time to time we get, hey, how come you can't have electronic kiosks around the village that do some of the things you could do at a mobile city hall, for example. And so the city had located a couple of vendors. Sam and his team had actually met with them. And they said, hey, it wasn't basically your city would have to pay. A lot of these are free, and there's some advertising component the city would have to consider, but Glendora is not large enough or doesn't have a large enough draw at this point to provide some of those. However, could the city in the future look at a kiosk for advertisements and do something on our own? Yes. The current sort of process for what that looks like, the market out there, and some of those larger, like you see in San Diego, for example, or some larger cities, that wouldn't be a fit for us, but it doesn't mean that we don't want to move forward with some sort of electronic advertisement in the village and along down to the A line at some point. That would be the ideal location.
But this is pointing to permitting office.
Yeah, so it would be like, hey, here's what you could do in the city, and here's kiosks. So multiple types of kiosks, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Hey, thank you, Michael. Shauna?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. No questions for me, but a couple of comments. First, I appreciate the clarification regarding the public comment about the South Hills item. Appreciate that. Adam, also appreciate how easy this is to read. Love that. Love that it's easily accessible and laid out nicely. I think our residents will appreciate that as well. And I think it's important to point out for some of our residents that don't necessarily understand the process of like why staff does what they do in any city, but specifically here in Glendora, they go off of this plan. So it's not the city manager or anybody else that is kind of just running the show themselves. This city council adopts this plan. We set the priorities, and then staff uses this information in their day-to-day work. So I think it's good for our residents to kind of follow along with this and see where projects are at. I think that was a good recommendation, Mendel, of, if you have an issue with something, maybe check it out to see where we're at with that. So that's it for me. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Shauna. Karen?
Thank you. And just looking at those stats up there to see how much has been accomplished at this point, that in and of itself is amazing. And the 5 goals all rely upon each other. If you want to come to Glendora as a destination, and if you want to live here, you want good infrastructure, you want good facilities, you want staff and technology that can support that. So that's why all 5 of these goals rely upon each other and are equally important. So thank you to you and staff for the time and effort you've put in carrying those out, and look forward to this next year as we continue to move forward.
Thank you, Karen. I don't have any questions because I try to stay abreast of the processes and the things going on, but there's a neat saying, plan your work and work your plan. And the fact that we have a 2-year plan to accomplish these items as opposed to, hey, every 6 months, let's change it, things are getting done. And a lot of things are getting done. And believe me, I'm painfully aware of the not speedy process, but it's happening. So it's encouraging. So thank you very much. With that, I'll entertain a motion to receive and file the report.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Michael and a second by Mendel, and invite us to kindly place our votes for receive and file. And the motion carries 5-0. Thank you very much. Brings us to item 8, to consider an agreement with General Technologies and Solutions, LLC, for design services for the HSIP Cycle 12. I'm sure our presenter will explain what that is. Safety enhancements and improvements at 10 signalized intersections at an amount not to exceed $224,880. And presenting is Assistant Public Works Director Valerie Velasquez-Santoya. Welcome, Valerie.
Thank you, Honorable Mayor, and good evening, Council. Before I start, I did want to give an update. We did reach out to our facilities supervisor, and happy to report that he did go out and he checked in on the public public comment regarding Fink Finder. We had a breaker out, so they're addressing that repair to get the lights back on. So they are here to serve, and we let them know, and they got out there and are taking care of it. So wanted to let you guys know that.
It's a slow
update.
television night, so good for
Yes,
them.
and he is watching, so thank you. Much appreciation to all of you. So, all right, so before we get into the HSIP, Highway Safety Improvement Program, I wanted to take the opportunity to give you all an update on our traffic signal system, talk a little bit about the improvements that we've done over the last couple years, and share with council as well as the community some of the funding sources that we use for this program as well. So within the city, there are 62 signalized intersections. The city is responsible for maintaining 51 of those intersections, and then we have 9 that we share with the county along Arrow Highway and Barranca, and then we have 2 shared signals, 1 each with our neighboring city of Azusa and 1 with San Dimas. For the shared intersections, we go ahead and contribute a shared cost of their maintenance and operations. And then in addition, we have 3 newer signals that were, losing the word, but they are related to the A-line, gold line coming in. So those, we will be receiving those. They'll be transferred over to the city for ongoing maintenance. Probably later this year, we expect to take them over. So altogether, we will have 54 that we will be responsible for. So maintaining the traffic signals is a big responsibility. Over the last couple of years, staff has taken measures to go ahead and improve the operations and see what we can do. One of the biggest operational improvements that we have done is the transfer and how we're operating and maintaining the system. For years, we partnered with the county to go ahead and do our operations and maintenance. Earlier this fiscal year, in July, council went ahead and approved an agreement to transition from the county to UNEX. And some of the improvements by making that transfer is that now instead of quarterly inspections, we have them much more frequently on a monthly basis. Instead of limited routine maintenance, there is expanded preventative maintenance. And with that, a lot of the tasks are now included instead of having an extra cost for the additional tasks. So with that, we feel that we've moved from a much more reactive approach to a proactive approach in maintaining our traffic signals. So another important component is the funding for our traffic signal system. We leverage different transportation funds as well as competitive grant funds. So annually, we allocate about $550,000 from the state gas tax, and then an additional $400,000 from Measure R. And then we also leverage different sources of grant funding, including the local road safety plan, the highway safety improvement plan, which is the subject of tonight. And then there's also the Safety Streets and Roads for All program. And I'll give you an example of each of those. So in 2021, the city received a grant to go ahead and develop a local road safety plan. And what that involved was doing a safety analysis of the roads throughout the city, identifying high-risk locations, prioritizing solutions for road safety needs, and making recommendations to go ahead and reduce traffic injuries and fatalities. And this was a very important plan because it's also a requirement in order to be eligible for application of other grant funds. So along that, we use the LSRP to go ahead and apply for the HSIP Cycle 11. And with that, we received $1.7 million in grant funding to go ahead and do some improvements at 8 different intersections. So we have the map here that'll go ahead and show with the red dot, there were 6 protected left turning phasing improvements, primarily along Gladstone, but we have one also at Hunter's Trail and Route 66 and Lone Hill and Canoma. And then we also had 2 signal heads that had an improvement, a conversion of a pedestal-mounted signal to a mast arm. So that was awarded in 2024 for the design, and then the construction was awarded late last year. And a notice to proceed has been issued on this, and we expect that this will be completed by the end of this calendar year. So building on those efforts, in 2025, the city received an award for a little over $2.5 million from the Safe Streets and Roads for All grant. With this, we will be having 2 Hawk signals installed along Sierra Madre, one at Goddard Middle School and another at Washington Elementary on Gladstone. And for those unfamiliar with Hawk, that is a high-intensity activated crosswalk, and really what it is a traffic signal that is at a crosswalk. It's dark for the most part, but it's activated when a pedestrian pushes the button. Then the light is activated, and it makes it much safer for pedestrians to cross. So there will be 2 Hawk signals, and then we'll have also some additional protected left turning phasing, signal upgrades, and high visibility crosswalks along Gladstone, and about 3 miles of signing and striping improvements included along high visibility crosswalks, along the high injury network area, which is notated with the red lines here on this map. And then we also have the HSIP Cycle 12, which we recently were awarded a little over $2 million, which is the subject of this item. And we'll get to that shortly. I just have one more slide to share with you. So here I'm going to point out just additional items that we are doing to go ahead and do improvements. We are using our funds annually to do several upgrades throughout the city. The table here will show you the different locations and the different types of improvements that we've completed over the past several years. For the most part, these are going to fit under the category of upgrading controllers and equipment to modern standards, installing battery backup systems, updating detection systems with video cameras, replacing aging loops and wiring, and modernizing pedestrian equipment. So with the overview complete, we'll move now into this Highway Safety Improvement Program, or the HSIP Cycle 12. So with this project, we were awarded a little over $2.7 million, and this is to go ahead and focus on doing improvements at 10 different intersections. We're going to convert 8 intersections from the pedestal to the mast arm signals, primarily along the Route 66 corridor, upgrade hardware at 2 locations, install high visibility crosswalks, upgrade pedestrian push buttons, reconstruct ADA non-compliant curb ramps, and install some advanced school zone signs. So here is a map that goes ahead and shows the locations of the upgrades. You'll see that most of these are along Route 66 as well. And then this is just an example of what a pedestal-mounted signal looks like, and then we'll be doing the upgrade, transitioning them to the the mast arm that you see on the photo here on the right. So once we were notified that we were awarded the grant, we went ahead and started to get the design RFP prepared, and we released that on September 18th of 2025. We received 8 different proposals, ranging originally from $188,706 to $354,460. With this agreement, their scope will be to prepare the construction plans, the cost estimates and bid package, including federal funding support, which includes the environmental clearance, the right-of-way review, construction and authorization, and also provide support for the federal funding requirements. And after the evaluation for responsiveness, qualifications, and project requirements, staff is making the recommendation that council award to General Technologies and Solutions for $224,800. So upon council's award, the design will start in April of 2026. It will take about 28 to 32 weeks for completion, so we expect that to be complete in November of 2026. We will be using Measure R to go ahead and get this design completed. The award will be for $224,880. We are requesting a 10% contingency for the total amount of $247,368. And then the grant amount of $2.7 million we would use for the actual construction once we get to that point. So that completes the report, and the recommendation tonight is that council awards the contract to General Technologies and Solutions for the HSIP Cycle 12 design in the amount of $224,880, authorize a 10% contingency, and authorize the city manager or his designee to execute the agreement. And with that, I'll return it to council for questions.
Thank you, Valerie. I'll bring it back for discussion and invite Mendel.
Thank you. This is great work. It's hard to think it's taken us a year to get here, but thank you for showing us what we did back in 25, and it's going to be done by hopefully the end of this year. Just curious. So when there's a wreck and what's it called, an arm mast goes down, what's that cost the person that mowed it down to install it?
Do not have that off the top of my head.
I think that would be a good incentive for everybody to know.
To
that
go ahead and-
If you total it, about 300 grand. So
300 grand. So it doesn't pay to speed. It doesn't pay to drive drunk.
No.
Or be on your phone, because you're looking at a $300,000 bill. Wow. Okay.
Plus
wow.
what your parent does to you when you get home.
Yeah, plus what your parent does, yeah. Well, thank you. I support this. Excellent job. Thank you.
Thank you, Mendel. Shauna?
Thank you. No questions from me, but just want to say I appreciate that we're getting all this stuff fixed. In fact, I was at work yesterday, and somebody commented to me about the light near their home it was actually over by Hunter's Trail that was fixed recently, and they were really happy about it. So what's everyone going to complain about?
They'll find something.
The roads. We've still got roads. Thank you.
Thank you, Shauna. Michael?
Thank you, David. Valerie, thank you for your report. Very nice report. Just a couple of questions. Do we have any studies to see how the flow of traffic is going to go after this, since it's going to be fixed? And I think some areas we're going to have some cameras that are going to get replaced as well. So is that any study on that?
I don't think we have a study per se, but
yeah, we recently did some of the traffic count stuff, and I see Moises making his way up here. So the goal is to move people through the city fast. I see Malia's coming up here too. We have engineers and translating for engineers. We got the whole crew up here. So
Well, I would imagine it's going to go a lot smoother.
it sounds like you want the technical answer. So we're happy to provide you the technical and common sense answer. All right, Malia, you're up.
As Valerie showed that in 2021, city conducted the local roadway safety plan study. So that study is repeated typically after 5 years. We are planning to do it again in 2027, and that will reflect. For that study, all the counts and how the signals are performing, all that data will be collected, and that will show that from 2021 to 2026, how much we move forward. So that will be our technical study.
Wonderful, because I know Route 66 gets slammed quite a bit these days. So any little bit will help. Last question is, we didn't select the lowest bid. So what's the process to select the best bid?
So this is the consultant approval. We have criteria, and the criteria depends on how consultants' understanding of the project, how they present it, what is their past experience, and how much their staff and allocation they show over there. So based on all those criteria, we have a 2 to 3 member committee that review the proposals and selection of proposals, and then interview, and that's how we get on one consultant.
And what's the criteria for us to be able to do that? To be
It's
able to
you award to the lowest responsible bidder, not the lowest bidder. So there's a selection criteria that the city has, and based on a scorecard, how well the consultant's proposal or response to the RFP matches with what you want, and how well they understand what it is that you require and their ability to perform the work to the city's satisfaction.
Yeah, and I would just also add, I think one of the questions you're asking for, is it like a commodity or a professional service? So on the bottom, and I realize it's small writing, a lot of writing, there's actually the code section in our purchasing code that basically says for professional services, in addition to price being one of them, the city can have a bunch of other qualifications necessary. Sometimes it's time turnaround, sometimes experience in some areas. So as Malia mentioned, all these proposals for professional services, and as the city attorney mentioned, are scored, and then that score represents the selection process here.
Well, because I know the legislature is working on something to expand our ability to select vendors.
Yeah, and that is the COG-sponsored initiative looks more at capital projects in their totality, like a design build project, where traditionally it's like price and price alone, unless someone can't meet some of the criteria. And so, in this specific case, as this is a professional service, it's not a construction project per se at this juncture until that's bid. So, Lee and her team then take the design services and come up with a bid package, and they go out, and then we're much more tied to price. But as the city attorney pointed out, you still have to meet the criteria to do the job.
All right, great. Well, thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Good, okay. Thank you, Michael. Karen?
Thank you. And I know that all of these will help a lot, but so that for the public's sake, that the intersections that get the most jokes made about, the most comments, the most complaints, probably Grand and Foothill, Carroll and Vermont, those have restrictions that are dictated by the Public Utilities Commission, and it's not a matter of us going and fixing those, that there's a series of things that happen there, and probably at least once a month, if not more, I get a photo sent to me, and then you get it, of the intersection at Carroll and Vermont going northbound, because it frustrates people when they look at the light, that the light closest to them is red, the light farthest from them is green, and that is in order in case somebody blew through that red, or maybe yellow, chief, and they're between those two lights, they have the green telling them it's okay to keep going so they don't stop on the tracks. But I know I'm saying this publicly because the public continues to ask about that, of why, and why doesn't the city fix those lights? But it's designed that way intentionally for the safety feature. So while we're making all these tremendous enhancements tonight, Memes of Glendora and everyone else that wants to talk about the lights, you'll have plenty to talk about, because those two intersections are not changing because they're designed the way they are for a reason. So.
Thank you, that's
So
correct.
thank you for enhancing all these other lights, but for your safety and reasons you'll never understand, those other lights are going to continue to frustrate the heck out of you, so have fun.
Thank you, Karen. And thank you, Valerie. And I'll share from back in the last century, you could actually drive from Pasadena to Cucamonga, and if you timed it well on Route 66, never hit a red light or infrequently hit one, but you had to be really good at it. That sequencing is not coming back, so that's okay. Anyway, but
Is that in a wagon?
no, if you didn't beat the horse too much, it would go. That's true, yes. Anyway, well, thank you very much. I have no other questions, and I will certainly entertain a motion to
Move items
accept
1 through 3.
recommendations of 1 through 3.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Alawas, seconded by Mr. Thompson. I'll ask us to kindly place our vote. There you go. And the measure passes unanimously, 5-0. Very well. Thank you, Valerie. Would this be an opportune time, and as we go into closing comments, to share some of the experiences that the city had from our windstorm this past weekend?
You thought you got away clean.
We did have our guys out on Saturday morning early. I'm sure many of you may have noticed the big tree that came down on Route 66, just east of Grand. So that was down. Our guys were out. I'm sure PD was out as well, making sure we have that traffic control in place to make sure everybody can still get through safely. So we did lose 3 city trees just due to the high winds. Couple of private trees as well. The private residents did go ahead and call out and get their own contractors out to do some clearance, and where we needed to. There was a lot of cleanup throughout the city. Had our guys going out doing a lot of cleanup. So overall, I think we did pretty well. I mean, we did lose three trees. We had our arborist out also taking a look at city trees throughout the city, seeing what they could do to make sure that they were still stable after the winds kind of moved them a little bit. Adam, did you want to add anything?
I was just going to say, Valerie was sending us text updates by like 6 in the morning about what was going on, and the team was out here well before that. And so I think it was ABC 7. I sent a text that was pulling up to take, a live shot of some of the wind and tree damage, and the staff did an incredible job moving some of the bigger items out of the roadways, even some of the smaller ones. And just a thank you to a lot of the members of the public. We had a lot of neighbors helping out their other neighbors, moving stuff to the curb, helping us out. So helping those that couldn't move some of those branches and palm fronds that fell. So lots of palm tree stuff. But Valerie and her team and the public works staff did a tremendous job. They worked a lot of hours this weekend and early and late and did a great job making sure it was as safe as possible. So I just want to express my gratitude as well.
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, that you did bring up a question that somebody asked me about palm fronds, whether they originally landed in the street or not, that there are some that have been piled up various places in the street, and residents were asking if the city was going to come and pick those up. So what would be the appropriate response for those individuals?
If they were in the street and they nicely pick them up and move them to the sidewalk for the city, we will send someone out to pick them up. If they're on private property, they should be putting them in their green bin.
Thank you. Or I think the palm fronds go in
Palm fronds, black bin, yeah.
Apologies, yes, you are
Yeah.
correct.
And also, if you have stuff, let us know. While we do go across a ton of the city streets, we may not know that you have something in your roadway. And so Athens usually does a great job notifying us when they're out and about, especially as traffic service started today. So, but if it's not addressed yet, please call the city and Public Works, and we're happy to help you out.
Yeah, the reality is the machinery doesn't like palm fronds. They are organic, but it does a terrible thing to machinery. So they do it another way. That's great. Okay, thank you. Anyone else comments? Mendel?
Well, I just want to make one appeal to my newest friend here, Daphne. I know that SCE is going to be doing some pole work. I have friends that are in the Morgan Ranch area that Friday their power is going to be out. It's going to be very hot. Saturday, my area is going to be out because the schools, which I understand, wanted that work done then, not during school, although the kids would like, yeah, we can just go out and play all day. But if those guys could not work 8 hours, but maybe 6 hours and get it done, because it's going to be hot and people are going to want their air to run and everything. So this is your first big test. And so I know you're going to do your best to advocate. So thank you.
It's going to be at your house.
No. So thank you.
I propose sun up till warm.
Oh, yeah.
There you go.
Yeah. So thank you.
Okay, great. Anyone else?
Daphne, I'm sorry that I encouraged you to come this evening. I'd like to wish my wife a happy birthday this coming Saturday.
Oh, happy birthday. Wonderful. Okay, lots going on this coming weekend, so all I can tell you is be there. Thank you. And with that, we will adjourn the meeting at 8:23. Thank you.